What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talker Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. Let's start with a couple of extensions in the NFL. Training camp has begun, so we got your holdouts, your extensions, uh, veterans that are still on the free agency market that can still help the team getting scooped up. Obviously, guys getting hurt. Keep deciding what we do from here with these injuries. Browns extend a pair of defensive backs. They extend safety Grant Delpit, 3 years, $48 million with $35 million guaranteed. Delpit's a very good safety. He's going to be 28 this coming year. Was a second round pick back in 2021 by Cleveland. Last year, 89 tackles, 3 sacks, 4 pass defenses, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. He's been very, very good and very, very solid. He has 2 career years over 100 tackles. He's been very good as a solid coverage safety as well. Went to college, LSU. Excuse me, was drafted in 2020 in the second round. I think didn't play his rookie year. He was injured. He got hurt in camp. But over the last 5 years, he's been a very good safety. Cleveland locks him down. Makes sense. Cleveland's, you got a young team. Really try and evaluate some of these guys and identify who your building blocks are. You think one of them is Grant Delpit, top 10 safety in the league, gonna be 27 or 28 years old, lock him down. And he also looks at Denzel Ward, who's little bit older. He's 20, gonna be 29. They gave him 2 years, $62 million. So he gets a lot of money. It's 31 million a year. I mean, Delpit's making 16. Most of that's guaranteed, which is a lot for a safety, but he is very good. Denzel's gonna make 31 million. Now, he's had a great career. He's been a Pro Bowler 5 times, including each of the last 3 years. Slight down year this past year, 39 tackles, an interception, 9 pass defenses on the season. He had at least 10 pass defenses in every other season of his career. He also had at least 2 interceptions in every season of his career, so a slight downturn last year. So he may be on the declines. I don't love the $31 million, but he is a short-term extension, and he is still a very good corner. He is still a good player. And they lock him down. It's a short-term deal. Ward, they've gotten a lot of ROI from. He was a fourth-round pick back in 2018. He's been fantastic. He's been top at least 7 corner in the league for most of his tenure in Cleveland. I mean, he's gonna be 29. He's not that old, but just a short-term deal for the year. It's not working out. You can probably get out of it without it being too bad. So, Denzel Ward gets a 2 year extension. Cleveland extends two main pieces of our secondary. The Eagles pay Jalen Carter and pay him and a half. Jalen Carter gets a 4 year extension of $152 million, making the highest paid defensive tackle ever. Crazy. He was hurt a little bit last year, missed 6 games last year. But just look at the numbers. This guy was obviously an absolute beast at Georgia. Not the smartest bulb in the box, not the most likable guy in the world. Obviously, he had the driving incident right before the 2023 draft, like most Georgia players do, especially defensive Georgia players. And he had I think it was last year he spit on a guy in the first play from scrimmage in week 1. He got thrown out of the game. That was disgusting and terrible and stupid. But he is an incredible player. He is one of the 3 best D tackles in football, no doubt. Still only going to be 25 years old next year. His first season, he was a runner-up at Defensive Rookie of the Year voting and was voted an All-Pro. He had 33 tackles, 6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and the fumble recovery that he returned for a touchdown. In his second year, he was an absolute monster again. 42 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 6 pass defenses. For a D tackle, was a lot. But second team All-Pro. Last year, did not make an all-pro because he was hurt, but in 11 games, 33 tackles, 3 sacks, and 7 pass defenses in 11 games. So the guy's a game wrecker, absolute monster, and he gets a huge contract from the Eagles. $38 million a year for a D tackle. He just completely reset the market for that position. The Niners are bringing in Deebo Samuel on a 1 year deal worth $7 million. So Deebo, of course, played his entire career with the now, besides last year, when he was with the Washington Commanders, he is going to be 30, but he's still a decent player. This is not the guy who was who had 1,400 yards receiving in 2021, and also gave you almost 400 yards on the ground. Not a guy who's going to average 15 yards a catch anymore. Not going to make an all-pro team. But he's still a solid receiver. Last year, missed all but one game last year with Washington. 72 catches, 727 yards, and five touchdowns. He can't bring the same versatility that he once did, but he's been relatively healthy these last few seasons. And he's still a solid second or third receiver. The Niners need that. Ricky Pearson just got hurt. Might be a long-term injury. That guy's made it glass anyway. Mike Evans is 34 years old, coming off a major injury. George Kittle might miss time in the beginning of the year. He's coming off an injury last year in the playoffs. We don't know how injury prone McCaffrey can be. So this is obviously a team with a lot of injuries. And while he doesn't help their age concern, because he is going to be 30, in fact, he already is 30, he is needed there. I think Kyle Shanahan is a coach that has gotten the most out of him. He knows how to use him properly, and I think he will succeed in that offense like he did for years earlier in his career. And the Saints extend Chris Olave 4 years, 132 million. So this is an interesting deal. Olave does not deserve this deal. He had a great season last year, best of his career, 100 catches, over 1,100 yards, and a career high 9 touchdowns. He was voted second team All Pro. This is a guy who's been very good his whole career. His rookie year had over 1,000 yards with the Saints. In 23, over 1,100 yards. Was injured half the year 2 years ago, but this past year was mostly healthy and had his first ever 100 catch year, first ever year with more than 5 touchdowns. He had 9. So he's really good. He is still only 26 years old. He turned 26 about a month ago. So he's still really young. He's very good. The Saints hero team obviously has been very old for a while. This is good on them for identifying a young core piece in Olave and locking him down. They've been trying to get that done all season. The risk here is that you're paying a guy $33 million a year on a team that we don't know how close they are. And if 2 years from now they still have not won that crappy division, which is kind of unlikely, but still not far from impossible, then what's the point of paying the guy top dollar if you're not going to win the damn thing with him? Especially a guy like Olave, you can get a first round pick and more for in a trade. So that's just very worrying. This team's been in cap hell for so long. Now, granted, tomorrow Davis is obviously no longer there. Cameron Jordan's on a 1 year deal, so he might come off the books next year. Have a quarterback in Tyler Shock who's on a rookie deal for 3 more years. Kamara's coming off the book soon. So it's outside of Olave, it's really just Travis Achan and a couple of other guys maybe. But if this team is really on the cusp, which it should be, of actually being good again, this might work out. But if not, it might just be another financial issue to deal with. As good as Chris Olave is, I think as good as he'll be over the course of the contract. So we'll see how this ages, but Chris Olave is a great player, and they lock him down. Jumping to hockey for a minute, the Sharks send Macklin Celebrini on a 5 year extension worth $94 million. Holy smokes. Just under $19 million a year. I think with the huge Bedard deal and the huge Celebrini deal, I think Team saw all these offer sheets that have been going on these last couple of years, especially this year. Like the Flyers oversee Leo Carlson, 5 years, 90 million. If the Ducks let him go, then we've gotten 4 first-round picks back. Instead, they decided to match it, which now they probably can't pay a lot of those young guys. Carter Gauthier is probably gone. I'd be shocked if he's on the team by like next year at the very least. So I think teams got worried about that, and Chicago didn't want Connor to hit the RFA marker. Thinking Leo Carlson, who's really good and really young, but he's not as good as Connor Bedard. If he got 5 for 90, imagine what Bedard's offer is going to be. Sharks start with Celebrini. If you don't get this done now, if Leo Carlson, again, fantastic young player, he's not near the player Celebrini is, imagine what his overshoot will be. And like a lot of these teams now, they pretty much know that the team is either going to do one of two things. They either will let them go, and you'll have to give up a ton of first round picks. But if it gets you one of the best young players in the sport that is the missing piece of your team, it's probably worth it, right? Even if you overpay for it. You know, if you can win a cup within 2 or 3 seasons, do you think you can? Or a lot of times it's a chess, not checkers move. Because now a team has to match and overpay a guy, vastly overpay a guy, and now this forces you in a salary cap league to have to move on from other pieces so that you have cap room to sign anybody. And Celebrity is at 19 years of age last year, had just an amazing year, 40 goals, 70 assists, and 115 points last year. And in his rookie year, he had 25 goals and 63 points. Was on the rookie first team, was third in the Calder Trophy race last year. Finished fourth in MVP voting. 45 goals and 115 points at 19 years old. That is absolutely insane. Was first pick overall, obviously, in 2024, and he's going to be one of the faces of the league going forward. He's turned 20 years old like 2 months ago. It's absolutely insane. He had 115 point season at 19 years old. That's unreal. To basketball real quick, Draymond Green has re-signed with the Golden State Warriors. 1 year deal was worth 27.7 million. He opted out, so his butt buddy, hypothetically LeBron, could sign with the Warriors. Didn't happen, so he's like, oh, I guess I might as well try again on a new deal. So, and he gets one. Draymond's a massive asshole and a massive big mouth. He's talking about how Brunson should have taken a pay cut. He just showed his damn mouth. To me, an overrated player all the time. The very good defender in his prime, but let's not pretend like he's just a great playmaker. He played with Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. Let's not pretend like he should be a Hall of Famer, but he's still a decent defender, and I think almost 20 million is a little much for him. And I mean, what's the point of kicking the can down the road with this ancient squad that didn't really get any better in the offseason? It's the same group that you finish with. Maybe Porzingis plays more games for you this year. Having a healthy Stephen Curry, I'm sure will help if he can be healthy for a full year. But this team is still ancient, and I'm not sure what you're going to get at G. Butler this coming year. I don't see that their ceiling being all that high, as talented as the group is, and as much playoff experience as they have if they can get there. So he comes back. You have two trades in baseball. One smaller one. The Texas Rangers acquire catcher Logan O'Hop from the Angels, as well as reliever Chase Silseth. They give up prospect infielder Angel Arredondo, goes the other way. This is a very minor deal. Oh, Hop actually sent to the minors. A little surprising. They've got nothing out of their catchers this season. The Texas Rangers, he's not their stars, but also wins their backup. He's hitting below 100 this year. Not a lot of at bats, but he is hitting below 100 for the season. Their starting catcher right now is Elias Diaz, who's a very good defender, but not a good hitter. He's hitting 250, but only at 689 OPS, just 4 homers, 16 RBIs. And even he doesn't have a lot of bat. He's 1,000 years old. Oh, Hop hasn't been great either. He's only hitting 209 this year with a 555 OPS. He's been horrific. But is it better what you have? Maybe. He actually he had a very good year a couple of years ago. In 23, flashed 182 at bats, hit 236 with 14 home runs. 24, first full season, he hit 244 with 20 homers and 56 RBIs. But last year, just 213, 629 OPS, 19 homers though. But this year, his offense has been really bad. Just 209, only 4 homers at this point. So he's been very bad. I'm going to try and pull up his defensive numbers. Not that it matters a whole lot because you already have Elias Diaz, who's a guy who's not going to hit for you at all. But what he can do is be a elite defender. So I don't get what the point is of really bringing Logan O'Hop. I mean, if nothing else, I'd rather him and Elias Diaz over Elias Diaz and Austin wins. That's for sure. Let me pull up his Fangraphs page for Logan O'Hop. See what kind of defender we are looking with Logan Hop. He's a relatively strong defender. I just want to get the exact numbers. Well, that load. Chase Silseth. Silseth came up a starter. He was 11th round pick by the Angels in 2021 out of Arizona. Never worked out really as a starter. Couldn't stay on the field. This year, in his first full year as a reliever, has pitched well. 47 games, 2.72 ERA. Has 48 strikeouts against 22 walks in 39 and two thirds. His whip is 1.4. But overall, he's been decent this year. He can go multiple innings. He's still 26 years old in year five. So I think he's got another year on his deal. The Angels being like just you can just have him because then you him very highly. So Chase Silseth goes to the Texas Rangers. Now here's Logan O'Hoppe pulling up his defensive run save page and all of that. Let's see what we have. Trying to find his defensive numbers. Overall, he's pretty solid. He controls the running game pretty well. So yeah, he's a actually no, he's not a good defender. I lie. He's this year is minus 12 run save was minus 10 last year. He's minus 31 for his career, so he's a terrible defender. So he just blows. I thought he was better than he was. He just blows. So is he better than Elias Diaz? We've got more power than him. Is he better than Austin Wins? Yeah, but whatever. Just catching death for them. Still stuff as a bullpen piece. Angels pick up Angel Arredondo. He is an infielder. He is still just 19 years old. Will be 20 soon. In low A ball this year, he's hitting 247, 8 homers, 47 RBIs, a 769 OPS. So he's got some decent pop, a 370 on base. So he's a disciplined hitter. Could be a decent run producer. So I feel like it's for the Angels. You move off of O'Hop, who's horrible. He's a horrific hitter. Has a little bit of power, but hasn't shown this year. But he's a terrible hitter. Has never hit above 247, I don't think. I think 209 was here for sub 600 OPS. Terrible defender. Sells up a fine middle reliever, but nothing more. And you get an infielder who, in a couple of years, could be a main player for you. So I like that a lot better for the Angels. And the Twins make a small move with the Mets. They pick up AJ Minter from the Mets. Minter is an older left-handed reliever. He was hurt most of last year and the start of this year, but has had a good year. 2.35 ERA in 23 innings, whip of 1, 20 strikeouts against 2 walks. He just doesn't throw as hard as he once did. Stuff isn't all there anymore, but he still is a very solid left-handed reliever who's very reliable. He's on a one-year deal. He does not walk guys. He will help their bullpen. Now, Minnesota is stupid for not selling. You can get a lot for Joe Ryan, you get a lot for Byron Buxton, you get something for Ryan Jeffers, much more than not selling. At best, they'll be a wild card team that probably loses in the first round. I don't understand that, but they pick up Mentor. The return for the Mets was first guy was an infielder, a shortstop, Bruin Agbayani. His dad is Benny Agbayani, who played for the Mets in the 2000s, relatively popular player on the Mets in the 2000s. It's kind of a full circle moment there. Don't really know much about Agbayani yet. There's no enough on him. He's only played 15 career professional games in the minors and low A. He's hurt right now. He in the 41 at bats he had this year. He was hitting 268 with a 753 RPS and a on base of 412. So there's something there, but I'm not sure what. Billy Amick is a little bit more proven. He's going to be 24 in a few months. He's in Double A right now. Only hitting 217, but has 23 home runs, 72 RBIs with an 820 OPS. He's slugging 42. He's a corner infielder, so he's a guy that's probably going to be a 220, 230 guy, but with 30 homer power. Not a bad piece to add. And the Mets could use a first baseman of the future because they decided to let Pete Alonso go for no reason because their GM is an absolute dork and an idiot and a moron. And even at third base, Brett Beatty, I'm sorry, he's not it. So I think Billy Amick could be, I'm not sure what kind of defender he is. He was a second round pick by Minnesota only 2 years ago at the University of Tennessee. But he's got 30 homer potential at the next level. And he's a guy that we could see in the Billy maybe next year. So they think it's a fine return. I didn't expect much more from Minter, an older player on an expiring deal, still for 3 million left that the Twins are going to cover all of. Yeah, much what anyone was really expecting to get back from Minter. I think it's a very fair trade for both sides. I think Billy Amick is an intriguing piece to get back, and Nick Bayani and nothing else. It's a fun full circle moment. I'm going to rank my top 32 NFL quarterbacks going into this season. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put them into tiers. So I'm going to start from the bottom, 32 through 24. This tier is guys a combination of they are unproven slash they are not very good. At best, a below average starter. Probably should be a backup. At 32, I did like a kind of a tie between Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson. I'm not sure who's going to be the start. It doesn't matter. Both these guys are absolutely horrible. Deshaun Watson has 26 cases of you know what on his record. He has not been an NFL caliber quarterback since he left Houston, since he really got to Cleveland, and that was like 4 years ago at this point. And he hasn't played close to a full season since his last, really second to last year at Houston. His last year at Houston, he didn't play because Texans were like, I'm not playing a guy who might be in prison forever, you know? So his career is over. He's had way too many injuries, obviously all the legal problems that he somehow has gotten through. And just the whole thing, like he knows what he did. I'm sorry, I hate to put it that way, but he did. And Shedeur Sanders is a funny last name. He's the Brownie James of the NFL. It's very obvious. He's not an NFL caliber quarterback. And they're both gonna play. Not sure who's gonna start. If I had to guess, they'll be Deshaun Watson. He's making so much money to play him for a bunch of games. He'll suck. They'll throw Shador back out there. He'll look really bad. And next year they'll draft somebody else. At 31 is Malik Willis. Malik Willis is just yeah, he's just kind of there to hang out in Miami this year. I mean, have fun. I mean, he gets to live in Miami for a year. Make a bunch of money to probably have like 8 touchdowns or something, but he is not a starting quarterback. He's turned to a fine fill-in backup the last 2 years in Green Bay, but to get like $50 million to be a starter, like that's ridiculous. Yes, he's probably gonna make like 17, 18, 20 something million this year, and they can probably get out of after the season, but like he's not very good. At 30 is Geno Smith. But it's such a Jets thing for them to have Geno Smith before and after he's good. It's kind of funny. He's utterly cooked, completely washed. They give up nothing for him, and the Raiders are paying most of his salary this year. Because the guy isn't good. He's obviously only there for the year, and then they will draft somebody else next year. He obviously had an health issue before the year. The looks like the case is closed, but like there's a video with a rifle in a sink. That's not a good look, buddy. But he's very bad. 29 is Kirk Cousins. He's the starter right now. Will probably start week one ahead of Fernando Mendoza. I don't expect him to play that many games this year. The Raiders are going to want an extended look at Fernando Mendoza. I would think you take him number one overall. I don't like throwing quarterbacks out there week one as a rookie unless they truly are ready. So I think it's the right move for them to start Kirk Cousins. Kirk has a similar play style to Fernando Mendoza. Their personalities seem very similar. Um, Everyone talks about the Step Brothers movie where with John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell. You see when they go, "Do we become best friends?" Yup. That scene is like Kirk and Mendoza when they first met, probably because they're very similar personality wise. And is a pros pro. He's obviously nowhere near the same quarterback he was 7 8 years ago. He's not a starting quarterback in the league anymore, but he's a serviceable quarterback. He's played a lot of football. He's 37, 38 years old. A good option to teach Fernando Mendoza the ropes. I think he'll start at first. So I didn't put Mendoza on here. I do not believe he's a starting quarterback right now. I don't think he'll start. The same reason I didn't put JJ McCarthy on here. But granted, I think I might be a better quarterback than JJ McCarthy, and you can keep doing that as we go down this list. Like same thing from Michael Penix not being on this list. Top of, even though he's a top 32 quarterback in the league, don't think he's going to start because I think it will be Tua, so I put him at 28. Tua just too many injuries at this point. At the peak of his powers, he wasn't terrible. Should have taken him at 5? No. They should have taken Justin Herbert over him. But Tua is he once was an average quarterback, he no longer is. He's at best a below average starter, maybe a serviceable backup. There's too many injuries. I think he'll win the week one job. He already nicked up his back in camp. I think he'll win the starting job. He won't play very well. By the end of the year, they'll give Michael Penix one more shot. It'll look ugly in them, and they'll move on. Two is on the one-year deal, obviously cheap deal with the Dolphins paying him all that money still. They'll let him walk out the year. And Penix, I mean, they'll decline a fifth-year option, probably look to move off him next year. So Tua comes in at 28. 27 is Jacoby Brissett. Just again, he's a fine backup. He's played a lot of football. He's 34 years old, something like that. He's played a lot of football. He's a good backup, fill-in guy, but he's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. Never really has been. Arizona's tanking. It's very obvious. And last year he put up some cute numbers, and he had the one game where he had the most completions and pass attempts in the game in league history. But he stat padded this way. He stat padded his way to earn himself another year with Arizona, basically, which I'm sure he'll do again this year. But if you're a fantasy football owner, honestly, keep an eye on him. Like I had a couple friends who actually started him a little bit last year when they had injuries, and he actually wasn't even that bad because he was throwing the ball 60 times a game. But 60 attempts for 250 yards isn't that good. That's about what we'll probably get out of him this year. And obviously, no wins. 26 is Tyler Shuck. Uh, I've said many times I'm not sold on Tyler Shuck. I never was. I was really low on him coming out last year. He did play some really solid football down the stretch. And look, he's got an opportunity. They brought him Travis Etienne. You kept Alvin Kamara. You just locked up Chris Olave. You draft Bryce Lance in the fourth round. Jordan Tyson in the first round. If Tyson stays healthy, he could be really, really good. Obviously, health is a concern coming out of college, but if he stays healthy, he's a really talented receiver. So there's an opportunity for Shuck to take a step forward. For right now, he's unproven. So put him in this tier. At 25 is Cam Ward. Another guy I was never sold on. There's always guys that coming out I just don't see it with, and teams do. Sometimes they're running that wrong. Sometimes it's the opposite. The first half of last year, he was really, really bad. Really looked like a rookie, but back end of last year, he played a lot better and played some really solid football down the stretch. I still love what he has around him. The receiving core is better with Wandale Robinson. You draft Cardinal Tate. You have a couple of young guys there who could be good. Well, whatever Calvin Ridley is. I still don't think it's great. The running game's is kind of okay with Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears. They don't have a legit tight end anymore with Okonkwo no longer there. So I don't think he's going to take that big of a jump this year, honestly. So I'll put him at 25. 24 is Jackson Dart. I liked him coming out. I think he'd be something very, very special in the NFL. I thought before they fired Davo, when he first got in there, I thought Dart looked really good and played some really good football. After Davo fired, he really struggled. He had some injuries. First thing he's got to do, he's got to protect himself out there. He's got to stop taking so many hits, and he's got to learn to slide. Someone's got to teach a guy to freaking slide. He had multiple concussions in year one. That's not a good sign. That's not a good start to your career. If he can protect himself and stay healthy, and the Giants can build around him, I think there is something there for sure. I think he can be very good. But if not, he's gonna literally run himself out of the league. But I like his flair. I like pretty much everything about the kid. But he's at 24. He's unproven. So this next group, I don't even know what to define them as. The 18 through 22. For now, I'm gonna put at mediocre at best. 23, I'm putting Kyler Murray. I've been on Kyler Murray at just not liking him for quite a few years now. I don't think he is that good. I think he's vastly overrated. I think he was vastly overpaid by Arizona. I don't see him ever recovering that magic that he had early on in Arizona when then now with the Minnesota Vikings. Now he's got a much better infrastructure around him. Justin Jefferson is elite receiver. Jordan Addison is a good receiver. He's Talkin isn't suspended or hurt. TJ Hawkins is a good tight end. They have a good running game with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. If the O-line is healthy, it should be a pretty solid offensive line. I don't love his fit in Kevin O'Connell's system. I don't. I think that system really needs a guy who can do most of his damage from the pocket, and a lot of RPOs. Kyra's the guy who does most of his damage with his legs. It's a wonky fit to me. Is he miles better than JJ McCarthy? Yes. Everyone on this list, maybe even Shador Sanders and Deshaun Watson are probably even better than JJ McCarthy. But I don't see him really being a lot better. Will he be a little better than he was at the end of his Arizona tenure? Probably. It's hard not to, going from bleh to Justin Jefferson and more. O'Connell is a bright mind, but I don't see him. I think he'll be a little bit better, enough to where he could probably stick around as a starter for a few more years before teams realize, yeah, it was persistent. He should be a backup. But I don't see him being anything more than mediocre this year. And that's about it. And I don't think that's enough for the Vikings to even make the playoffs, to be honest. I know Olegary is a good, not great quarterback, but I don't think he'll be that. I don't think he'll be as bad as like I'm expecting like Geno Smith or Shador Sanders to be. But even like I don't think he'll be as good as even like a Bo Nix was last year, and he was just kind of above average last year for the most part. 22, I have Bryce Young. Bryce Young is one of the two or three quarterbacks facing the most pressure this season. Has to take a big step forward. I heard there's a chance he gets an extension before the season. If I was a Panthers, I would tell him, no way. You got to go out there and at least win a playoff game, at least have a year where you're fully consistent, have a year where you throw at least close to 4,000 passing yards. No, no chance. He's getting a little better each year, but I would say probably 70 to 75% of the games that he's played, he's not been good. The back half of 2024, he was pretty good. He had the back half of last year plus the playoff game, he was overall pretty good. But his rookie year, he was a train wreck. The first half of the second year, he was a train wreck. The first half of last year, and even a couple of games in the back half of the regular season last year, he was not good. So I would say for 2/3 of his first 3 years, he hasn't been that good. People don't gotta realize this was like first overall pick. They gave up DJ Moore, who was an all-pro receiver at the time and was for a bunch of years in Chicago, and though he's kind of declining now. The first overall pick the following year, and more picks to get this guy. And he's been at best a mediocre starter in spurts. So he's at 22. I was never a fan of his. I think at best he's an average starter, like an Andy Dalton kind of quarterback. But this is the year where he has to either put it all together or Carolina most likely will go in a different direction at the position. At 21 is Daniel Jones. He was hard to rank because he's had a weird career. He sucked for years with the Giants. He has the one decent year. They pay him. He sucks again. Gets hurt. Colts bring him in. All of a sudden, he has a resurgence. He plays some really good football, but then he gets injured, tears his Achilles after the year. But he is healthy heading into camp. He was playing some really good football last year. So much more what to expect from him. But for now, I'll put him at 21. I'll say he's a mediocre-ish starter right now. At 20, I will put Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers, I mean, he's 1,000 years old. He's looking like he's pretty adamant that this is his last season. You never know of him with, just him being high all the time. He could have been high when he's saying all these things. Or he just wants to do it for the spotlight, but I do think this will be his last year. It should have been like 5 years ago. That's besides the point. I mean, for a guy who's 42, he's still pretty good. He's not a world beater anymore. He's not going to win an MVP anymore. But he still has some very good ball plays, especially for a guy his age. And, he cannot move anymore. Can move 3 inches to his right, he falls over, but he can still place the ball better than some of these other quarterbacks on this list. Number 19 is C.J. Stroud. So I didn't really know where to put him. Was great his rookie year. Was so bad the last 2 years. I think there's still something there with him. This is not a case with Aaron Rodgers where he's 42 and his best football is obviously behind him. He's in year 4. He's a young quarterback. That great rookie year was 3 years ago. It was not that long ago. And he's had some very poor offensive lines. He's had injuries to his weapons. He's had some poor running games. This year, you add a legit third down back in David Montgomery. The offensive line is massively better. You add Braden Smith, you add Wyatt Teller, you draft Keenan Roberts in the first round. You're gonna have a healthy Tank Dell. I imagine Nico Collins will be a little bit healthier and will be a little bit more efficient. He was still very good last year, even when he was healthy. This is a very good team with a lot of talent. And Stroud, I don't know if he'll get back to his rookie year self. He's just changed as a quarterback. Teams have figured out a lot of what he does well. But I think he will be marginally better at the very least, which is really all he needs to be for this team to contend, to be honest, with how good that defense is. 18 about Caleb Williams. People need to stop smoking the copium, whatever the hell they're smoking with this guy. He is so inaccurate. He's turnover prone. He had a lot of crazy late game heroics last year. He played better. He did a better job of avoiding sacks, but the guy's not that good. He's a mediocre quarterback at best. I've been banging the table for since he was at USC that he is not that good. By the way, that expert pool put him in the top 10. Drug test them at once. Him at 10. No flipping chance. He's at 18 right now, okay? He's not that good. He really isn't. And this is a big year for him. Number 17, I put Jaden Daniels. I want to put him a lot higher than this. I wasn't one of those guys who's saying after 1 year he was top five, but he was so good as a rookie. I thought he was top seven going into last year. Obviously, not as efficient last year, was injured a lot. Jankwood should have been arrested for putting him out there with the season over with and getting him hurt again. I would have had him in handcuffs like that if I was the Commanders front office. But now he's now healthy. I don't love what he has around him. Terry McLaurin's really your only weapon there, which kind of scares me. So I'm not sure. And I've always had concerns about his body. The kid has the talent. He showed it in college at LSU, ended at Arizona State. He showed it in his rookie year. Just his frame is so small. There was a reason coming out. People were like, every time he gets sacked, it looks like a Looney Tunes character because he goes flying. And there's a reason that he was named, even in his first year, he had a couple of he took some big hits and he was down. He had to come out. People got worried. Then he missed a game or two maybe, and he was hurt a lot of last year. He needs to prove that he can play a full season. He has the talent. He has the full package. Everything you want. The arm, the accuracy, the mobility, the leadership, the clutch gene. He has everything you can want. He carried a team to a conference championship in year one. That does not happen very often. That is beyond impressive. But he has to do it again. So for now, he's up. I'll put him. This is for the start of the neck. I'll put him in that same tier of kind of like you're mediocre at best right now. Jaden, he probably should be in here on his own, honestly. Like, you could be really, really elite. You also could be not so elite because you're hurt. And this next tier, I would say 11 through 16 are guys who you're good. Could you be elite? I don't personally think so. Maybe. But you're a good quarterback. Number 16 is Bo Nix. Bo Nix, I feel like people either overreact or underreact to him. Either people are saying he's so overrated, he was carried, he's not that good, or they say he's so underrated. They look at his win-loss record their first 2 years. Win-loss record's not a quarterback stat. They say he should be in the top eight. Like, y'all need to find a middle ground. A guy can just be a good quarterback. Okay, but you can win a Super Bowl with a good quarterback if your team is good enough around them. The Seahawks just did it with Sam Darnold, and he's coming up on this list too. Knicks, what I've seen from him, very good downfield passer, good athlete, excellent leader. He's been very clutch in some big games, but just very erratic with the football, which worries me. Uh, their defense got them to the AFC title game last year. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's ever a negative towards Bo. We need to stop the whole game manager thing as a bad thing. Quarterbacks, if, this team is built to lean on their defense. That's how this team wins. That's how they won last year, and if they're going to win this year, that's how they're going to do it again. I think Bo Nix fits Sean Payton's system nicely. I know the comments that Peyton made about his injury and Bo kind of like clapped back indirectly was kind of weird. That's something to look. I've said that before. It's something to keep your eyes on this year. I don't think it's a case of anything. You would need someone with inside sources to really confirm or deny that. Obviously, I don't have that. For now, I'll put him at 16. He's a good quarterback right now. At 15, I'll put Jared Goff. Down in the last year, Goff's the guy when he has to go off the line, he can put up some numbers and he can win you some games in the regular season. He's a good quarterback. I think in recent years he's been a little bit overrated because of how good the pieces have been around him. He's benefited off that. And again, that's fine. This team is meant to lean on their weapons. That is fine. That's what he does. But he was not very efficient last year. He cost them that game against Minnesota where their defense played lights out. And he had like 5 or 6 turnovers. He was horrific. I give Goff, when Goff's on, he's very good. Good arm, very accurate, doesn't turn him over very much. But when he's bad, he's so bad. Like he's had multiple games in the last like 2 or 3 years where he's throwing 5 interceptions. He won game a couple years ago. He threw 5 picks and he won the game. Last year he had like 5 or 6 turnovers against the Vikings and almost won the game. So very odd. But if he can just when he's have a B game instead of a D game, even when he doesn't have his A game, then the Lions are going to win a lot of games. So I'll put him at 15 for now. 14 is Baker Mayfield. So obviously all this contract stuff is going on. The Suns are kind of at odds, not agreeing to an extension. He's a good quarterback. He's done a good job of really making something of himself after a really rough start to his tenure. Listen to the massive draft plus by pretty much everyone, including myself, and kudos to him for really remaking his career with the Bucs. He's turned into a good quarterback. Out of the gate last year, he was bowling. He was the MVP through like 6 weeks last year. And then I think he was playing through some ailments and he struggled down the stretch. But this is a big year. Tampa Bay has an older roster. I've said many times, including recently, that they are the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NFC. If Baker has another just kind of fine year, nothing special, and they don't win the playoffs or miss the playoffs outright, with this deep quarterback class, who's to say they don't just say, you know what, Baker, it's been real, but you can go sign somewhere else. Or maybe they tag him and they draft somebody to succeed him the following year. They tag him just to get some picks out of them. And like if this season goes south, you might as well just lose them all, get the coach fired, get the GM fired, and draft somebody next year and start fresh. I said, I think yesterday I said with Vita Vea's trade request, I would trade him right now. You might get a first round pick for him. I trade Baker Mayfield right now. Get a bunch of draft picks for these guys. Get them into salary relief and just retool and just tank this year, next year, new coach, new GM, new quarterback, start fresh. That's honestly what I would do at this point if I was the Bucks. But he's a good quarterback. Just, his floor isn't that low, but his ceiling is obviously a lot higher than it was in Cleveland. But I still think his ceiling is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, so I'll put him at 14. At 13, I put Sam Darnold. And again, Sam Darnold leaned a lot on his defense and on his coaching and on his pieces around him last year. That is fine. That's how that team is built to win. And Sam Darnold should be the blueprint for that. He had a very good year last year. The only games the entire season that he legitimately was not like very good, the one Rams game in the regular season where he threw 4 picks, cost him a game. The second Rams game, in like the first half, he didn't play well, but second half was money. And in the Super Bowl, he didn't play well. He even admitted that he didn't play well. And he still wasn't bad enough where he was turning the ball over, and he still won the game pretty easily because of his defense, but he still won the Super Bowl. That stands for something. Sam Darnold's a good quarterback. Kudos to him for getting out of two very bad situations with the Jets and with the Carolina Panthers and remaking himself into a very good quarterback and a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's not elite. He doesn't, do anything super elite, but he's got a decent arm. He's become much more accurate with the football. He's he still have the occasional, like the Jets kind of leaks the Jet in him leaks out of him and how the bad turnover here and there. Other than that, he's got a lot better with that. He's a much better leader, a much more confident quarterback, and he is, I think, the 13th best quarterback right now going into the season. 12, Jordan Love. I put him at 12. Jordan Love's a good quarterback. He's a great downfield passer. He's relatively accurate, but the turnovers are a problem. How many times does this guy have a game-ending interception? I feel like every time the game's on the line, he throws a pick. So he's got to be a little more clutch in big games. He's got to cut down on the turnovers, but he is a good quarterback. And also, I believe there's an out in his contract for next year. So if Green Bay's season goes off the rails and he's hurt again, is this kind of has a fine year with this crazy quarterback class coming, I'm just saying it's something to think about if you're Green Bay. But Jordan Love's a good quarterback. At 11, it's Dak Prescott. So Dak, like, pound the table for a year. This guy is vastly overrated. The last couple of years, he has played some very good football these last 2 years. I still don't trust him in a big game. He still has performed a lot better against bad teams than he has against good teams. He's been a very bad postseason quarterback, but he is a good quarterback. Now he's got a lot of talent around him, but he's a good quarterback. He's been elite very, very briefly in spurts. His rookie year, I would say he was elite back in 2016. The last 2 years, he's had moments he's been elite, but for most of his career, he's been a good quarterback. And that's where he belongs. I feel like we hated on him so much to the point where it's like, all right, he isn't that bad. Like we had some people like ranking around to the top 20. It's like, okay, he's not that bad, guys. He's a above average quarterback. Like, let's calm down. Should he make 300 million? Hell no. But like, is he like? Would I take him over the all the names below him? Yeah, by a decent margin. Like you could probably argue against Sam Darnold because he has a ring. Maybe I like Jordan Love over Bill Nick Jane because of the age and the potential. But right now, there's not that many quarterbacks that I would take over Dak Prescott. So he's at 11. So number 10. Let's go about top 10. Number 10 is Brock Purdy. This might seem a little high for him. Even when I was doing this, I was trying to find a spot for him, like in that 12 to 16 range. I just kept finding myself be like, yeah, I can't put him this low. Purdy, yes, I get it. People are tired of him being shoved down their throat. He does get treated like he's elite sometimes, and he's not. But he's very good. Again, yes, would he be this productive without Christian McCaffrey, without George Kittle, without all these other guys? No. But it does not mean he's bad. Again, that team is built to, rely on all the talent they have. I mean, yes, he's overpaid with that $260 million contract. I get it. And I get the media makes him a little unlikable. But this is a good quarterback, very accurate with the ball, doesn't turn the ball over, and he's very good. Okay, he is a very good quarterback. So he comes in at 10. He's been to a Super Bowl. A lot of guys can't say that. Number 9, I put Jalen Hurts. Okay, I don't like Jalen Hurts. He annoys me. Something about his whole thing he's got going on annoys me. In fact, I put him very low at the end of last year. Looking back, probably should have put him a little higher. He was not good last year. His numbers haven't jumped off the page really any year besides 2022, even Super Bowl year. But this is a guy when he has a competent play caller and everyone's on the same page, he is a good quarterback. He's not fun to watch because he doesn't have the best arm, and he runs a lot, but he runs 4 yards and slides. But he's probably one of the smartest quarterbacks in the league. Very high IQ player, doesn't turn the ball over for the most part, makes the smart plays, great leader. He's won a lot at every level that he's been in. He's been a good quarterback in the clutch. He has a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP. He went to another Super Bowl. And 2022, he played his ass off. He played amazing. Their defense just couldn't stop anybody. Hmm. They gave up 38 points in that game to the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a good quarterback. I get I've heard he clashes with Nick Sirianni. Everyone clashes with Nick Sirianni. So some of the Jalen Hurts hate rather, is a little bit unwarranted. He's a little tough player to predict because I feel like he either is so frustrating and unlikable that it's like I want to rip your freaking mustache off. You're so overrated. And there are sometimes it's like, oh, the hate gets a little much. We have to find again, gotta find the common ground. He's the ninth best quarterback in the league. He's not elite, but he's above that mediocre group clump of guys who, are just average. But he's not as good as the Joe Burrows and the Patrick Mahomes. Like he's not. He's right in between. I'll put him at nine. Number eight, I'll put Trevor Lawrence. So I was gonna put him a little bit lower, but the more I thought about it, I thought he belonged at eight. These next, the reason that I have these guys in the top 10, I think the top seven is pretty obvious. You can flip a couple of guys but in that top seven, but I think it's pretty obvious. And the reason I have Lawrence, Hurts, and Purdy 8 through 10, I've seen Trevor Lawrence be elite in spurts. I've seen Jalen Hurts be elite before. It's a few years ago, but I've still seen it. I've seen Brock Purdy be elite in spurts. I've never really seen Dak Prescott be elite. Maybe in 2016, that was 10 years ago. I've never seen Jordan Love be truly elite. Same thing with Jordan Love, even Sam Darnold, even though he's won a Super Bowl. Same with Baker, same with Goff, same with Bo Nix. I could keep doing this. Jane Daniels, we got to see how he responds from injury, and then so on and so forth. Trevor Lawrence, yes, he was only been elite. Guy was drafted in 2021. Yes, the only time he's been elite was the back half of 2022 and the back half of last year. He's had two elite half seasons. He had 1 year where he was horrible his rookie year with Urban Meyer. First half of 22, he wasn't good. 23 was just kind of okay. He played through some injuries. 24 was not great, was hurt again. 25, the first half, he was not great. The second half, he was outstanding. So, so the whole thing that we talk about that 2021 class, he has the talent. We dubbed this guy a generational talent coming out. It's not like this came out of nowhere. It's like Brock Purdy, where he was the last pick from a draft, and he got put in a good situation, and he ended up and he's thrived for the most part. Trevor Lawrence was compared as a prospect to Andrew Luck, compared to John Elway as a prospect. Like he has the talent to be very good, to be a star. Do I think he'll get what you saw last year is the best of it? I think that might be true. But he was very good last year. Over 4,000 yards, 38 touchdowns. He was very good. I think he's a very good quarterback. I'll put him at eight. Number seven is Justin Herbert. I'm at this point, I feel like I'm one of the few people still thinking he can be elite. And he has been in the past. He truly has been. And look, he does have to win a playoff game at some point. His numbers in the playoffs are horrendous. It's bad. But let's not pretend like it's all his fault. And people who even hate on him even admit that. And you cannot put him in that elite tier. You can put him in the very good tier. You can't put him in the elite tier quite yet. Okay, to break it down to tiers, I'll say the guys in 24 through 32. I said either below average guys should be in the league, should be backups, or just unproven. You got I would say the guys in the from 17 through 22 are either average at best, or combination of like don't really know what you're getting. Jane Daniels, CJ Stroud. I would say the guys from 11 through 16 are above average starters. I would say top 10 guys, I would say 10 through, I would say Purdy and Hurts are good quarterbacks that don't have the intangibles of some of these other guys like Herbert. Like Herbert's got fucking the flair, the cannon arm, he can run. Hurts and Purdy don't have the pure talent that Lawrence and Herbert do, but they have the IQ that that Lawrence may not and Herbert to a lesser extent may not have. So I'll say Herbert and Lawrence. I think they can be elite, and they have been in spurts, but they haven't done it consistently enough. But Herbert is very good. I like him a lot. And these top six are guys I think are true elite franchise quarterbacks. Number six is Drake May. So I do need Drake May to do this again. He's got to do it for another full year. He needs to do it not playing a cupcake schedule. He needs to come up in the playoffs. He was very bad in the playoffs last year. He was horrendous in the Super Bowl. That's just a fact. But he was very good. I did not think he should have been an MVP finalist last year. I'm not saying the guy wasn't good. He was one of the 6 to 8 best quarterbacks in the football last year. All the MVP talk were a little bit of a stretch last year, but he was very, very good. I said coming out, this guy's gonna be really good. That's why I didn't like the Patriots drafting him, because I knew he's gonna be really good. He's got a good arm. He's a good athlete, especially for a guy his size. He's accurate. He is the full package. He's a chance to be very good for a long time. I'll put him at six. He does this for another year, no doubt top five. Okay, but for now he's a six. But I do think he's on like the very end of the elite tier. Number five is Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is probably the most pure talented quarterback in the league, maybe besides Patrick Mahomes. Gotta be healthy. But this guy is every year he's been healthy, he's either, been in the Super Bowl or been an MVP finalist. Guy has it all. Good arm, very accurate, doesn't turn the ball over, clutch, can make big throws. If he's a quarterback I want in a big game outside Mahomes, I want Joe Burrow. The guy is money in big games. Has been since his college days. But his health in recent years, I put him at five. Four is Lamar Jackson. And look, Lamar, I don't know if his play style will ever win him a Super Bowl. It hasn't yet. He has not been great in the postseason. But he's still a guy that is electrifying. He's been great for most of his career. He has two MVPs in what? 9 seasons? Like, that's very impressive. So he's still, and he got close to a third as well. So again, health. He's had a couple of years where he's been nicked up throughout the year and missed some games. Last year was one of them. When he is healthy, he's pretty much always an MVP finalist. He just has to find that common ground of like, I'm not saying don't run. You should be running 7 8 times a game. You're as good at it as any quarterback I've ever seen, but you got to keep yourself upright for a full season. Number three is Patrick Mahomes. Talent-wise, he's number one. Obviously, this is a guy who I think if he retired today, he's probably one of the 10 best quarterbacks ever, if not 5 best quarterbacks ever. First by Hall of Famer, 3 rings for the first Super Bowl MVPs, 2 regular season MVPs, has a 5,000 yard, 50 touchdown year under his belt, the whole thing. He has been slightly less productive the last 3 years. Now, he has a ring and another Super Bowl berth in that period, but he has not been as dominant these last few years. Last year was her, obviously, and struggled at times. But I think he definitely is going to bounce back. I think he's a incredible quarterback. I think the reason, and I get it, the media shoves him down our throat. Chiefs, everyone hate the Chiefs, the refs, everything like that. I get it. But the guy's an unreal talent. I'll put him at three because he has regressed from these last couple of seasons. Number two is Josh Allen. Now, Bills fans need to shut the hell up about this guy. I'm tired of hearing about him. He does need to get within the playoffs at some point. That is a legit concern. And that is a legit concern. And similar to Lamar, I don't know if his play style can win him a Super Bowl. But the guy has just been so dominant. His rookie year in 18, he wasn't great. 2019, he was better, but still was very erratic. For the last 6 years, he has been one of the at least five, not three best quarterbacks in the league. Undoubtedly. But the guy's arm is the best I've ever seen. The fact he's that big, he can run that well is amazing. Become a lot more accurate. And I do think he's a bit of a showman. I think his public image, I think if Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen's PRs were reversed, I think their image would be a little different. Lamar's this guy, oh, he runs too much, never wins in the playoffs. Allen's like this pretty one that everyone loves. I don't think that that's fair to Lamar Jackson. I'm not even a Lamar Jackson fan by any means, but Josh Allen is an incredible talent, and I'll put him at two right now. Like I've been critical of him for his playoff failures. Do you know how many teams would take him as a quarterback? Oh, but maybe three or four. If they can trade places with Josh Allen, like that, like that. And number one is Matthew Stafford. He was the best quarterback last year. He won an MVP. He was dominant. I think he's gonna be a Hall of Famer when he retires. Even if he retired right now, like he's still this good at what 38 years old is amazing. The guy's a beast. One of the true Ironman of his generation. One of the great arms to ever exist. And right now, to me, Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback in the league. By the end of next year, between all, Allen, Mahomes bouncing back from, Lamar being healthy, Burrow being healthy, May, the up and coming younger guys, he probably won't be number one, but he'll probably be number four or five, or at least six or seven or eight. And at 38, 39, very impressive. So Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback in the league to make going into the season. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Have a great weekend. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.